Hello friend, and welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I hope you're doing well, mate. I genuinely do hope that. And welcome back to Chelsea News, which is the daily series here on Football Therapy, while I reflect on what's being said about Chelsea across global news footballing media, give you my thoughts on it. But as always, more importantly, asking for yours, opening up to the community, the people. Today, we're reflecting on the Daily Mail Plus exclusive, bang, the truth about Cole Palmer in Chelsea. Oh, I can't wait to crack into that nut and see Huaguan. Over on The Athletic as well, here we go. The Chelsea mess and how they fix it. Oh, God, I can't wait for the answers. Next coach, transfers, Palmer, and winning over the fans. Look at these breaders, they have no clue. So we're going to crack into it today, gang. Delighted to have you here with me. Thank you for hanging out with your old mate, Jan. I am most appreciative. Please do consider liking and subscribing on the YouTube to help me out in the deep, dark abyss of the YouTube algorithm. And if you just pop over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and search Football Therapy Podcast, I would be grateful for a follow and a 5-star review. That's a sweet, sweet thing right there. So thank you for that. Let's get into it. Probably worth mentioning as well, I will be doing more content on Football Yannick, non-Chelsea related stuff. It's been quite hard at the moment, seeing Spurs hop out of the relegation zone. And Arsenal probably now going to win the Premier League. And they're one game away from winning the first European Cup in their history in the Champions League. So I could be a very sad, sweet, vulnerable Chelsea supporting boy. It could get dark very quickly, mate. But we're here to talk about Chelsea, so let's start with this said article here. This is Kieran Gillies, the Chelsea boy, or the guy who reports on Chelsea on the Mail. The truth about Cole Palmer and Chelsea. Blues insiders reveal stance on Man United links. Here we go again. Why missing out on Champions League football would be a double blow the reasons for superstars' poor form. Is this going to be particularly enlightening? Because you could say he's not going to Man United. Missing out on Champions League football was because of the wage bonus and his poor form injury. Roll the dice! I think I'm going to win. Let's find out. Me. Right, I'm ready. For Chelsea, nothing has changed. Cole Palmer, not for sale. Sources insist they intend on strengthening their squad in the summer, not weakening it, and that there is no financial need to sell their biggest names, regardless of which European competition they end up in, if any. That's a very strong, potent, spicy brief that Kieran Gillies almost certainly received from Chelsea Football Club, that we don't need to sell anyone, we're going to buy players and become better, and it doesn't matter what European competition we're in. Probably should put in a casual, fleeting reminder that we are hot trash right now. We are a special kind of ass right now, yeah? And I mean that as in like a derogatory term, not like, Central Brazilian bunda. I'm talking like, like me after a curry and 8 pints of Guinness. That is the kind of ass we're talking about right now. Wait, I'm losing my mind. Anyway, just carry on talking about Palmer from the Daily Mail. But then Palmer has changed. Yeah, that's true. Don't we know it? He's not been the player we know he can be after 33 goal involvements under Pochettino, 23 under Enzo Maresca. Seems like it should be more, doesn't it? He's on 10 in the Premier League this season, 5 from penalties. Yep. Pretty pony, you must say. Oh, sorry, I keep burping. I've just had loads of lunch. or should I say a large lunch. He hasn't scored since March, hasn't assisted since February. Wow, this is getting bleaker. Hasn't seemed to majorly motivated to make a difference. Well, that's a bit unfair. Does he look not motivated? I don't know. When Chelsea have suffered 6 successive league losses, like I said. Horrible trash ass. He has had new injuries, a nagging groin issue giving him grief. He has had new tactics, Liam Rosinia arriving and leaving in the space of 106 days. With an international break in there. I really feel like that's important context when we speak about how ridiculous how short-term that appointment was. He's had a new team. He's had new teammates. His club being the busiest of traders. But even so, the will to turn cold has been lacking this term. There has been only frustration on the field, Some aimed at himself, but also towards his teammates. When forced into playing a back pass, he's prone to doing with the theatrical swing of a leg, as if to show his annoyance that he had no options ahead of him. I know exactly what he means by like that. I can see it now, the theatrical swing, like, back pass, because none of you, man, are in the right place. Palmer's attacking influence. Oh, let's have a look at this then. Hold on. How can I click on this without causing problems? That's fine. Palmer's attacking influence has declined sharply this season. So the dark blue is the Poch season, the medium blue is the Maresca season, and the light grey blue is this current hellish nightmare. And as you can see, Palmer is poor in all of them. Yeah. Damn. Some interesting data there for you boys, girls, ladies and gentlemen. Those sulky showings, along with Palmer's own slump, have only added to the speculation surrounding his future ahead of the summer, and at a time when he has been heavily linked with a potential move to Manchester United, despite being tied down to Chelsea until 2033. He, of course, spoke to Jacob Steinberg of The Guardian last month, and had learned to laugh off such links. Ha ha ha. They look a lot better than we do right now, though, Man United. The club's hierarchy had spoken privately with him, as they did with Reece James and Caicedo when they recently agreed their new contracts till 2032 and 2033, respectively, to reassure him of the caliber of signings they will be targeting this summer. Narrator. Yannick was doubtful. That was at a time when Chelsea was still alive in the Champions League chase, and Palmer spoke of do you remember there's a cryptic line? He said he spoke of the importance of qualifying for Europe's elite competition so that they could be in a position to sign those players that they need. Now their only hopes is slipping through the back door by finishing 6th, which I cannot see in 1,000 million years. 6 losses in a row, 1 goal scored, and it was like it was an amazing overhead kick, but it was a weird instance. We don't deserve anything except a poke in the eye. Finishing 6th or relying... Yeah, Champions League. If you still believe in Champions League, then good on you. Your cup is not just half full, is overflowing, my friend. Sources with knowledge of the contractual structure at Stamford Bridge have confirmed the majority of the Blue squads are now tied down to incentive-based deals that, of course, sees the players' salaries aligned with the success on the pitch. Yeah, like I said, which, by the way, I'm broadly for, if you want my opinion on that. I think it's quite important so they don't just sit on a wage. Although, you'd think they would have the incentive to not be bad, which we are at the moment. And it's believed the participation in the Champions League is worth around 20% of their wages, which is not insignificant. It does make me think Fernandes will be like, right, I'm leaving, get me out of here this summer, because we know he wants to go. Real Madrid will give him a massive, bigger base wage anyway. We know he wants more money because he's been locked in negotiations with Chelsea for a long time now. And he's going to lose this 20% on his current contract due to no Champions League football. So it's pretty nasty stuff. It became policy within Chelsea to reward performance, again, which I'm broadly for, while also acting as a form of financial protection for the club. Missing out on the Champions League not only hurts their pride, but their pockets. While Parma sought to play down those United rumours publicly, and you can imagine there were links in those inside the club hoped that might draw the line under such transfer talk. There remain sources outside Chelsea who continued to claim he would consider such a move privately. Dun, dun, dun. He's a Man United fan. He loves Wayne Rooney, yada, yada, yada. But, you know, Chelsea also have given you so much. And also, you're playing like buttocks right now. However, that is still somewhat dependent on United deciding if they want him. They already have Bruno Fernandes in the number 10. Of course, I think he's my PFA player of the winner. PFA player of the year winner. Mr. Word or two there. He won many of the vote. Football Writers Association did Bruno. So it's unclear would they even want to test the waters this summer. It would cost a lot of money for an out-of-form Cole Palmer, wouldn't it? Chelsea have continued to support Palmer. That's nice. They believe he can come back to his best with interim Callum McFarlane. I don't think he can come back to his best on the old Shane, with the greatest of respects of Shane. The latest head coach to defend his faltering form, bringing up his groin injury from earlier this season. One reason why he's been struggling to show his true self. Neither Chelsea nor Parma have ever said in public that they think surgery is the answer. Yeah, that's a tricky one, isn't it? England manager Tommy Tooks was at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, every freaking one was at Stamford Bridge to watch that abusive, horrible nightmare. Thiago, Silva. I saw a picture of Maresca. Was Maresca there? What's Maresca doing there? Get out of here! Shoo. Yeah, we got touched up 3-1 by Nottingham Forest B team at home at Stamford Bridge. We are pony, man. It's been days now, and I read that, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're really bad. And witness Palmer's penalty saved by Matt Sells when we were only 2-0 down. They were singing a different chant about Matt Sells, but they had a really funny one before. When I think about you, I touch Matt Sells, which I think is a lovely bit of business, that. It's certainly that with the Englishman who turned 24 today. Oh yeah, happy birthday, Cole. Happy birthday. Score some goals. Will be selected for the summer's... Look, I don't think he will be selected at this point. Yeah, it would be a huge personal blow for his image. Right to Kieran Gill. And his image is very important at the moment because he's done the deal with Coca-Cola and his little trademark icon motif thing. Okay. I think there'll be a little bit about Cole Palmer on this Athletic article we're about to jump into, so there we go. Interesting to hear that, I mean, I was pretty much nailed it, didn't I? The poor form, not the injury, whatever. Apparently Chelsea are going to buy players regardless of what European competition or not we're in. I mean, they do love buying players, but they don't buy the right kind of players. Perfect opportunity now, though, to hop over to the Athletic, and Simon Johnson and Toomey have linked up for a piece that should, possibly be informative. Here they are, Johnson and Toomey right underneath the couple of knobbers there. The Chelsea mess, how to fix it, yada, yada, yada. Right, well, let's go through it then. Chelsea are facing one of the most important summers in their modern history, arguably considering how fractured and unstable things are. A club that has become so accustomed to being part of the elite in the Premier League and Champions League have become unrecognisable. Oof. But fair. It appears certain that they will fail to qualify for the Champions League for the third time in 4 years under the Bowley-Clearlake consortium since they took over in 2022. If they do not beat Man City in the FA Cup final on May the 16th, it will also be the third time in 4 years they've not claimed any silverware. Gross. They have suffered an embarrassment of losing 6 games in a row for the first time since 1993 and are in danger of finishing in the bottom half of the table. Yeah, that's a very sobering lineup of stats or data or headlines. It's worrying. Clearly more is going wrong than right. I agree. So how can they fix things? The Athletic earmarks some key areas that need to be addressed. I can't wait. Right. Biggest and most important, I'd say, is this one. Get the next coach appointment right. I would agree. Should I keep this on the screen? If I could go like that, then can you read it all? Slightly smaller. Okay. An obvious one, but one of the most significant decisions. The owners will be hiring their 5th permanent head coach in 4 years. What an absolute joke. Illustrating how they've not found the best man for the job. When the Todd Bowley Clearlake Consortium took over, the message from Stamford Bridge was that the revolving door in the managerial dugout under the previous owner, Roman Abramovich, would be a thing of the past. Yet their record is even worse. At a mere 18 months, Maresca was their longest ever serving head coach. In fairness, Chelsea sources who spoke under condition of anonymity to the protect relationships have said they did not want to make a change at the start of January this year before the Italians' exit. Mamma mia! Not so tutto bene, you would have to say. Let's read on. That meant Callum McFarlane, #Shane, became the 3rd person to have a spell as an interim coach following Bruno Saltor. He only had 1 game though. Lamps, of course, which I don't blame Frank for at all for our form. He turned up and it was like, you're all a bunch of losers and none of you are fit. So fair play, to be honest. Both, of course, were in 2023. McFarlane's 2nd stint in charge this season after Maresca and then Rosinia. The lack of stability in such a prominent position is inevitably going to have a detrimental impact. Yeah, well, it's an absolute ruddy joke, mate. Nothing less. Unlike the Abramovich era, Chelsea do not have several winners in the dressing room to carry on winning regardless. Yeah, we don't have the dressing room to run the club like we used to. Chelsea needs someone who can galvanise. I'm not singing this as like a Broadway song. Chelsea needs someone who can galvanise the players and the fans. Someone everyone can believe in. The club do not want to rush the next appointment. Yeah, this ain't working. And we'll make an announcement at the end of the season. Yeah, it'd be weird to just come out early and be like, we're going for this guy. Names on the shortlist include outgoing Bournemouth coach Andoni Iraola. Step on down. Had so many multiple conflicting reports and opinions on Iraola to Chelsea. Fulham's Marco Silva, who I must say, he does feel... he's like one of my least favourite candidates. Just because he's been meh. Watford, Everton, Fulham, mid-table, meh. But there is something a bit Chelsea about Marco Silva. I will concede that. I know they called him the mini Mourinho at one point, which obviously is quite Chelsea, but there does feel like a bit Chelsea there. Former Real Madrid coach Xabi Alonso, who I've been very firm on, would be my selection. I haven't been very firm on Xabi Alonso. Don't take that out of context. All right then. What's next? Well, this is next, gang. Give the coach more say and power. Yeah, your self-reflection. How's that going, Chelsea FC? The evidence of Bluecoat's 4 previous head coach appointments is that the coaches who publicly question Chelsea's unique and deeply flawed, my words, structure or decision-making, like Pochettino and Maresca, create untenable tension, while coaches who are happy to work quietly within this environment lack the authority to deliver results that meet the Chelsea on-pitch expectations. You could say, like, Rosinia and Potters. If they're too much of a yes man, you just don't... Yes men don't get the dressing room, but like two combustible people won't get the hierarchy. It will always be a job that attracts plenty of interest. Will it though? Is it forevermore? Can they eventually poison the chalice to the point of no return? Find out soon. But is coaching Chelsea attractive enough to the caliber of coach the club needs? Preach. Most elite coaches are demanding personalities. They are demanding personalities of their players, of their staff, and their sporting directors and their owners. Many could reasonably be described as high-maintenance individuals, like all the great Chelsea gaffers of old. Maybe not so much Ancelotti, but he's a exception to the rule, I'd argue. The lesson that Chelsea supporters and journalists who have covered the club for a long time have learned over the years is that maintaining them to deliver trophies maintaining them is often worth it. They create elite cultures, drive winning standards, and deliver trophies. Many burn out to wear... Sorry, let me just scroll this here. Many burn out or wear out their welcome and ultimately do not last long. Yeah, but they win. But the recent history suggests neither do the less established, more collaborative coaches that Blueco and the sporting leadership have targeted. Yeah, I'm done with just these collaborative guys that are like, yes, get around a whiteboard. Get someone in who's just going to kick the ruddy so-and-so out of these kids and sort them out. Yeah? Let's go old school. Giving one of these elite coaches the keys to the castle is not necessarily a smart strategy either, but there is a reasonable balance to be struck, I agree, where a talented coach feels empowered to voice their opinions and even challenge decisions internally in service of making Chelsea better. Secure sporting executives must be comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. Boom! Oh! Fucking bars from Liam Twomey. That's gotta be Twomey. I know it's Johnson and Twomey, but those bars are straight up MC Twomey. Secure, as in like not insecure, secure sporting executives must be comfortable with being a little uncomfortable. Yeah, you knobheads. Transfers! Okay, this is a big juicy. Here we go. Improve in the right areas. All over the pitch. When you spend over 1 billion and have so many people questioning the strength of your squad, it does not take a genius to figure out that the recruitment has not worked. Amen. Just look at the bench against Forest. The only attacking option was Delap. The other 8 names were comprised of 5 defenders, 2 defensive-minded midfielders, and a mandatory place for a backup keeper. Injuries have not helped, but the point of spending such a fortune is to build a group strong enough to cope with any setbacks. Yeah, I'd argue we've not looked, in a position to cope with the setbacks. Buying young players with potential to grow together. Chelsea have the youngest average 11 used in the Premier League for the 3rd successive campaign running. So we love that kindergarten. According to Transfermarkt, this has not worked. Well, according to Transfermarkt, this has not worked. Absolutely not. Football is about winning in the present as well as the future. Also, if you just teach these kids to be freaking losers, there's no guarantee that they're gonna grow into winners and start consistently winning, because they do what they learn, and they're learning to lose. Think about that. Yeah. Multiple sources say they will tweak their strategy and buy more experienced, mature players. They are unlikely to be significantly older, but at least ready-made players will be targeted. I'll believe it when I see it. They are looking at players who've played in one of the big 5 European leagues and know what it takes to compete in Europe alongside domestic efforts. Handling the demands and pressure of such a schedule is seen as key. Of course, the likes of Kenda, Omega, I think Penders as well are all joining in the summer on top of whatever business they do. The club are still looking for at least one centre-back, fine. Midfielder, yeah. An attacker, provided they're a left-sided one, to their ranks, but without the prestige and financial rewards of the Champions League, acquiring first-choice targets will be a lot harder. Transfers out, I don't need to read that. We can decide, in the summer, we can do videos or content on the outs. Injury record / get Palmer back to his best. We've already spoken about Palmer and the injury records. So the last 2 ones are massive, I think. Get the fans back on side and convince the players of the project. Get the fans back on side. Perhaps the hardest task of all, because the relationship is not great, to say the least right now. There have been chants against the owners in every match for several months. 2 protests have taken place outside Stamford Bridge, the second of which was far more attended than the first. More events have been planned for the FA Cup final and the home game against Spurs. The atmosphere at home games has been terrible, making it an easy environment for opposition teams. Yeah, but Chelsea have got to give something back for to the fans to get excited about, you know? Chelsea have lost 7 times at Stamford Bridge this campaign. Only the bottom 4 teams in the Premier League have lost more at home. It used to be a fortress, man. It used to be a fortress. An upturn in results and performances will have a major impact on getting people back on board, but it runs deeper than that. Despite the creation of the Fan Advisory Board, supporters complain of a greater disconnect between themselves and the club. Ticket prices and difficulty buying them are a real source of angst. The club's long-term front of shirt sponsor, plus any news on whether the club will rebuild Stamford Bridge or construct a new stadium, has added to the dissatisfaction with how the club is being run. Bars again, preach! Yeah, to get the fans back on side, you need to have everything sorted, and everything is demonstrably unsorted at the moment. Convince the players of the project. Well, there's some more good stuff in here. Let's rattle through this then. Recent months have made it clear that some of Chelsea's most important players are questioning the Blue Coat project and where it's going. The club would point to Captain Reece James, Caicedo signing new long-term deals. Enzo Fernandez and Cucurella, of course, have been speaking out in public. Much of the feeling of progress and upward momentum was tied to the work of Maresca. The Italian's departure in January and Blueco's misguided decision to hire Rosenia, it didn't go down well with some players. A bit of revisionism though, we were in poor form under Maresca. It may be that Fernandez, Cucurella and others are satisfied in the short term with short-term pay rises and more contractual security, but that will not last if Chelsea remain in the middle of the Premier League and outside the Champions League. Many of these players were pitched on joining the most ambitious project in world football when they arrive at Stamford Bridge. Yeah, we spoke about this. The magic PowerPoint that somehow convinced all players to sign for Chelsea. And probably lots of them are regretting it now. They want to earn salaries that reflect their belief in their own value, but they also want to compete for and win the biggest trophies. If they lose, all hope of that's happening at Chelsea. The reality of football is that they and their representatives will find a way to get to other clubs who can meet their career goals. The good players would leave, basically. Finally, get a prominent ex-Chelsea individual on the coaching staff around the club. It won't be John Terry. He's obviously a consultant for the academy, but there's been speaks about him, and he's read here, controversial figure over the years for a multitude of reasons. Thiago Silva, it was pictured in the stands. Of course, he's just won the league with Porto. He loves Chelsea. I would love to get someone like Thiago Silva on the coaching staff. Anyway, we'll stop the article there. Lots to fix. It's certainly interesting to hear it listed out like that by Twomey and Johnson. I'm sure there'll be plenty of briefs coming from the club talking about what they're going to do and how everything's going to be alright, and they're going to sign this guy, and this manager's going to come in and make us good again, and, break your heart. Because that's football, man. Anyway, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing on YouTube to help me out in the deep, dark abyss that is the YouTube algorithm. You got your hype points if you want to drop any down here. If you want to spend the extra few seconds on positive helping Jan admin, search Football Therapy Podcast on your preferred podcast platforms and give us a 5-star rating and a follow. Alright, mate. Keep it locked. See you soon. Take care. Okay, then. Goodbye.